I'm Danny Lung from Timbre Rock and Roots. I'm very happy to have, finally we have in Singapore, the Tedeschi Trucks Band, and Susan and Derek right here. I'm very lucky to be able to talk to them a little bit. But I have a few questions. As you have seen, I'm also a musician, but there are a lot of people who love the blues in Asia. I mean, in Japan, in Singapore, so many blues lovers, and a lot of guitar players who like to play the blues. What would your advice be? Blues being an African American music form, becoming so universal and international. And for me, I would love to see like an Asian blues star come up at some time in the future. What would your advice be for aspiring bands, who want to break into the international market as you guys have done?
I mean, I think you just have to do it the old-fashioned way. You have to listen to a lot, and you have to play a lot. You just gotta. I don't think there's any shortcut. You have to pay your dues and play as many gigs as you can. And I think a lot of it's luck and timing, but you just gotta put the time in. I think that's what makes this music great, though. Is most great artists that you see, you can tell they've played countless numbers of shows, and they've been doing it their whole lives. It's not a fad, and there's no smoke and mirrors. I think it's the honesty of it that people appreciate. So, I think it's listening and playing and just trying to put your life story to music. I really think it comes down to the humanity of it and the honesty of it all. I think that's what makes it great.
Well, in regards to songwriting, at least, or substance, so I think great songs are a combination of soul and substance. How do you guys get inspired to write songs? I mean, what inspires you?
Everyday life stories.
Yeah.
Things that happen.
Trips like this.
Yeah.
You can write a song about Singapore.
Yeah. The boys already. Well, some of our guys already did.
Oh. I'm sure it's about some girl, maybe.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Or not getting some girl. Yeah.
That's the blues right there.
Exactly.
But I mean, I've always loved the blues. I mean, since I first heard it when I was 16 years old. I used to listen to a lot of Mahalia Jackson, even for the gospel side of it.
Yeah.
I love like B.B. King. But what strikes me about the blues for me, as an Asian musician or Asian person, is that it's basically one man against the world. He's putting on a suit, he's going on stage, and maybe in the streets he's being called names, but when he has that stage, that's his.
Yeah.
And he can express that. So in that regard, I mean, what inspires you about the early people from the blues?
I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
mean, the amount of things that the original blues musicians had to overcome to make a recording or to hit the road is pretty staggering. I mean, it was them against the world in a lot of ways, but the stage and the music was a great equalizer. I think it broke down a lot of racial barriers in the United States. When you fall in love with an artist and their music, I think it's a lot harder for generations to remain racist when you love somebody so much, and especially before videos and it was all on the radio. You didn't know what race somebody was. You just heard it and you liked it or you didn't. And there's tons of stories of artists showing up in the crowd thinking they were one color or another and having no idea. And I think that was a big part of music was a big part of the civil rights movement. The blues turned into soul and R&B and everything else, and rock and roll, of course. So, but yeah, I mean that when you hear that music, it's just as timeless. That music is just as powerful now as it ever was.
Well, everybody wants to be liberated, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a pretty common human longing.
Also, any form of music, I think, as long as you're passionate about it, and if you really are trying to be honest and tell a story, then it's going to come out and people feel it.
Yeah.
And that's what really hits people. And blues is a great way to get people to relate to you from all over the world, because everybody has to pay their rent, everybody's got to take care of their family, everybody's got to deal with things that are really difficult to overcome. And that's one thing about blues, it's not always sad. It can be really a beautiful, uplifting thing too, as you know. But I think people really relate to it. It's one of those things.
May I ask, for me, I've always have a lot of respect for what you do, and as well as people like Bonnie Raitt, Cara, who's trying.
Yeah.
I mean, there are not many ladies of the blues, so to
Right.
speak. It used to be so much more. I mean, when blues started, it was really the lady blues singers, the Bessie
Yeah.
Smiths,
Yeah.
and all
Sister
that
Rosetta.
big Mama Thornton.
Yeah. Coco Taylor.
What do you think? How do you think you could inspire that? I mean, in a sense, would you like to see more ladies
Well,
coming
I have
out?
been seeing a lot more ladies, a lot
Yeah.
younger. The younger generation's really been blowing my mind. A lot of young girls playing guitar, and that's the thing. I never really grew up seeing women play guitar, and so now I see a lot more women playing and little girls, 9, 10 years old, and playing well, and so I think it helps to break barriers, when people like Bonnie are up there or Cara or whoever, they're up there showing that it's not just a man's world.
Yeah.
Women, it is tough. It's definitely not, you have to be tough. It's not really a girly girl world. Being on the road and living in a van and, you start out, you're basically every way, shape, or form trying to get to a gig or, just trying to learn the material or trying to get a band together or whatever. So, it's hard work, but if you're passionate about it and you love it, it's great.
Well, you do this together. That's the most beautiful thing. When I told people, and some people don't know this, I told you guys are husband and wife.
Right. A lot of people
and they
don't know.
know. They don't know. I said, "Are you
We have 2
serious?"
kids.
Because
I know.
So what's interesting to me is how do you find the working relationship between the two of you in regards to that? That's the last question.
You can be
Growing up,
honest, honey.
growing up and on the road, I was on the road at 9, 10 years old, being around the Allman Brothers. It's always been kind of a family affair. So it feels like an extension of that. With our band, it's an 11-piece band. Everybody's super close, and it allows us to be together. It allows us to play music together. It's been a blessing. We've been lucky.
Well, we're very blessed to have you in Singapore. A year ago when I saw you at Byron Bay, I meant what I said when I came up
right.
to you and said that we would like to have you in Singapore, and I'm so glad it's
Made it
happened.
happen. I appreciate
we made it
We're
happen. We
excited.
made
So
it
glad
happen.
you did. Thank you.
No, you're
It's
welcome.
really special for
You're
all of
welcome.
us.
Yeah. And I'm glad you remember that.
Of course, yeah. I
So,
remember.
of
It
course.
was only
you gotta-
2 years ago. It's not
That was
that
2
long
years ago.
Yeah.
You remember 2 years ago? Yeah. And I remember you telling Derek, Singapore. So, okay, and you're here. So I wish you the best of performances.
All right.
A lot of people can't wait to hear you, and I think you will blow them away. So thank you for
Give it
being
a
here.
shot.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much
Thank you,
for
thank
having
you.
us. Thank you.
Cool.